Do not attempt to adjust your podcast player. We are controlling the transmission. We are here to be your guide, helping you to explore local events, the art scene, music, theater, sports, and possibly a conspiracy or two. All here on the GCRX Radio and Podcast Network.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Metro. Host, I'm Bill. We have Mr. Flying with a Y, Mr. Guy. Tonight, in the guest chair, not really a guest, but family, Mr. Nick Drago.
Hello. Good evening.
And of course, we have Mr. Bill over here, making sure everything runs smoothly. And if you're wondering where Miss Kim is tonight, well, she's had a bit of a run-in, apparently with a horde of spiders, apparently, so she's got little bites that she's kind of nursing tonight. But she has joined us here. She's right outside the window. That's why we have our favorite guy with a Y, Bri.
Actually, that's a V, but that's a Y. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be a hell of a show tonight.
I agree.
So I'm actually glad to be back. I've been gone for the last 3 weeks, and you guys have done such a bang-up job. I wasn't even sure if I was going to come back, to a seat here or not.
We could never replace you, Chuck.
How'd you like sitting over here?
That was interesting. Like, that camera is just in your face, like all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be a big deal, but it is different from sitting like, and I hate to use this word, but it kind of like anchoring the show or whatever, and having sitting in across from you or whatever. I mean, we all share equal parts here. Don't get me wrong, but
I agree.
It is a little different, So
yeah. It was definitely a wonderful experience for me. I enjoyed it. I appreciated the opportunity to do so.
Who did you have on? I'm sorry.
That day, it was just us. We were just
just you and Kim, and
it was me, Kim, and Bill. Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah, I think you guys just shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I joined you guys from, where was I then?
You were in Pittsburgh.
It was Pittsburgh. I've been traveling so much.
Oh,
it's like I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight, because I've got to go. I've got to leave town tomorrow again. I'll be gone for just a couple of days. It's kind of an overnight trip or whatever. But the next 2 days I'll be Chicago, Minneapolis, and then back here.
Wow. So
yeah, they keep me hopping. Huh?
You are getting your frequent flyer miles, right?
Oh, yeah. How do you think that Miss Rebecca Sunshine and I are going to be in Jamaica?
By the way, haven't had a chance to talk to you about this. Happy belated birthday, and congratulations on the engagement.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm a hell of a lucky guy, is all I've got to say, So I was very happy that she said yes, and, she sports that ring around, which, that makes me happy also.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer.
Did you ever doubt that she'd say no?
No, but there's always there's always that small sliver where it may be no, but it might be maybe not right now.
Yes, even Lysol kills 99.9%.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah,
always something lingering around.
Yeah.
Remember that time you left your socks in the bathroom?
Right.
Yeah, this is gonna be a no for me for now.
For now, yeah. Work on this thing, work on that thing, So, but no, I mean. When I asked her, I was 100% on board. I was 100% on board. I would say probably about, very, very soon after I met her. I knew that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I knew that she was the woman, that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And it was just kind of one of those things where I'm not a guy that will continue to date someone if I'm not in it for the long haul. Why waste my time? Why waste your time?
Right.
And if you're both of the mindset of getting married, to each other, then that's just, and that's the thing also. Like,
that's valid.
I was in the mindset I was looking for a wife. I wasn't looking for a girlfriend. I wasn't looking for a hookup or anything like that. I wanted to be married again. I wanted to share my life with someone, and so I knew that she was the one, and so yeah, it's awesome.
That's beautiful.
So
honestly, yeah. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. I'm happy for me also. I found someone's going to put up with my ass, So how was your weekend?
Oh, that was jam packed. I did work on some struts for a 2004 Pontiac Grand Am.
I did brakes yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you do the rotors too?
No, we're going to hold off on the rotors. Those are the back rotors have to be replaced, but we did the front brakes, and like the car actually stops when you press the brakes down. The pedal doesn't go all the way to the floor, you know. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let me see that. We hit a bit of a snag as one of the mount bolts didn't want to come out, and after heat and a lot of penetrating oil, probably about half a can, it just didn't. So it just ended with Bill just cutting it,
yeah, and
then drilling through a whole lot of metal.
You know what? I thought we were going to have to do that yesterday. So Rebecca's brother-in-law, Kenny, he helped me out, with this. And it's funny because I really just kind of needed a place and some tools, right? Mm-hmm. He had the extra tools that I needed, which is good because the brakes on her vehicle were really weird because they weren't like brakes I'd worked on before. You guys, if you work on cars, most of the time you have a caliper that comes off of the rotor.
Right.
You compress the caliper back in, the C-clamp, the piston back in. But this wasn't like that.
It had a twist one?
No, this had like two bars in the that were holding the brake in, and it was a compressed dual caliper. So basically, it was really, really weird, really odd.
What kind of car is this?
It was I don't want to say what kind it is, just in case.
Understood.
Yeah, it was really weird. But the bottom pins would not come out. Man, we were back there with punch holes and all kinds of stuff. I really thought, at one point, I'd hammered it so much that the end of the piston or the end of the bar had mushroomed down a little bit. So I had to file the edges back down a little bit so it would fit through the barrel. But so that's crazy. You had a very similar situation.
In addition to that, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, and you thought?
I think they were trying to set the Guinness Book of World Records for most F-bombs in a movie.
It had to be, yeah.
This was absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what the MCU needed.
Yeah, it definitely needed a good shot of moody penicillin, I guess.
Yeah, and without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, so that was fantastic for me. Hugh Jackman will play Wolverine forever unless they get like Henry Cavill, or I've heard they're trying to get Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
Daniel Radcliffe to play him. I'm like, I know he's the right height for it, but could he bulk up that much? I don't know.
I don't know, man. These guys, they get these Hollywood trainers, and they're just, they know how to do it, man. They know how to do it. So.
It seems Wolverine, what's his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. It seems like that's his role.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just no one's ever going to top that. It's like someone trying to do the Death Johnny, the pirate.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Jack
That's
Sparrow.
not gonna work, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to know. So they made some huge announcement over the weekend also with Robert Downey Jr. Did you see that?
I did.
I'm a little weird.
Goosebumps.
I am.
I
love Downey, man.
That's the
love
point.
it. Yeah, I know. It's probably as an actor, he's like, this is a hell of a challenge, and I'm gonna go for it. But yeah, it's gonna be hard for some people. But I think he'll pull it off.
Because I agree about kind of like the whole Hugh Jackman Wolverine thing. Mm-hmm. I think that Robert Downey Jr. was probably made to play Tony Stark.
Oh yeah.
And to throw him in this other role. Now, being a little bit of a comic book nerd, I know a little bit about how they can incorporate this in and make it fit within the continuity of the comic books or whatever. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Nick, how was your weekend?
Good. It was really kind of boring, but tomorrow I'm going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice. Nice.
And it's a bucket list concert for me. I've always wanted to see them. I've been a fan of theirs for years, and it's one of those like close to my heart bands. You know what I mean? The albums that got you through the tough times, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's going to be quite an event. I'm psyched about it.
Nice.
It's like going to see Cher.
Sure. Yeah.
I've never seen Cher.
Yeah.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, she's still alive.
Okay. I know we've had a bunch of celebrities kind of.
Yeah, no, she's alive. I got to see Miss Rebecca, and I went to go see Hootie and Blowfish.
Oh yeah. I love Let Her Cry, man. I love that song.
Those guys, I've been a big Hootie fan since Crack Rear View. And I've got both Darius Rucker's memoir and Jim Sonnefeld's book also, and just kind of hear their backstories and everything. I mean, they're both really stuff, cool. Man. Yeah.
Did you see he was on CMT with Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes, and they did like a couple songs together? It was really good. Darius Rucker. Yeah, I'll send you the video later.
I tell you, I was surprised by it, and I didn't know that they were as tight as they are. But Edwin McCain was also a guest performer at the Hootie and Blowfish concert, but they have a song that I hadn't heard before called "Solitude," and you get a chance to listen to that song. If you like Edwin McCain and you like Hootie and Blowfish, listen to that song. It's Solitude. It's a really good song. So,
Darius,
Mr. Bill, how was your weekend?
My weekend consisted of working on that car. Yeah. I mean, easiest struts ever until we got to that one. Yeah, that was about it. That was what I did.
Yeah. Well, we get to go to the ball game, Cardinals versus the Nationals on Saturday. Did you see the score?
Nope.
We left when they were 9-up. The Nationals were 9-up.
What was the final score?
I don't know. We didn't even bother. We went to go see Rebecca's niece Maggie play. They played God Bless America and the national anthem, and then her other cousin was there to sing the seventh, taking out the ball game. So that was fine, but we had almost a 2-hour rain delay. So I was actually surprised that they even had the game. But then when I want to say that the Nationals scored like 7 runs in the 5th inning. We were just, all right, we're going to wait until they sing the song, and then after that, peacing out, So, and as you can see, I spent, my time away with the St. Kitts.
Nice.
For work. I did get to visit the ocean for about
that's a good
5 to 10 minutes.
Oh.
So that was kind of nice. Best mangoes I've ever had, though. I'll say that. Best mangoes.
Right off the tree. Just, it's a different level of, like, you have mangoes here.
Yeah.
You go to Schnucks, they got mangoes. You go to some farmer's market, they got mangoes. When you get mangoes, like, right off the tree, just off the beach, it's juicy on a different level.
Yeah.
Like, you cut into it, just,
yeah.
You're like, oh my God, I've never had a mango before. That's the thought that you have. I've never had a mango before. And you're like, but we have them all. Eat this and tell me you've had this before.
Yeah. Have you been to St. Kitts?
No, Barbados. Where my family's
okay.
From.
All right.
Yeah, and we're going for Christmas this year. So
all right, nice.
Yeah, it's.
You need to adopt 2 people.
I think the place that we rented initially, I was able to bring 1 person, and now that it changed, I can't bring anybody. So I'm flying solo, and it's going to be. I didn't realize this when my parents were setting the whole thing. Well, my sister was setting the whole thing up. It's my brother-in-law, my sister, his parents, and my parents. I was like, oh, so this is like a full-on family vacation. Like, yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna miss you around here, Brian.
It's gonna be Christmas, so you got me for a few more months, but I will miss you guys too.
So, all right, awesome. So, what is tonight? It's not the second Monday of the month. However, we've been pushing this off, and we absolutely we can't just have a normal Nick show here. We've got kind of an explosive show tonight that we're going to talk about quite a few things because there's so much happening currently. Nick, you mentioned this earlier. Normally we're talking about things in the past or whatever, but there's just so much stuff going on right now. Like I mentioned in the setup earlier, even some of the best fiction writers in the world could not put this stuff pen to paper. It takes. It's amazing what's going on in this country right now. I mean, everything from. Go ahead.
Are we talking about the cheese heist?
No. The cheese heist.
No.
We are now. No. We will. I need to know about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
We talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah. No, I mean, so of course I have a bit of a different take on this Olympics thing that's going on, right?
Okay, go for it.
And we can. I kind of want to get to Nick stuff first.
Because, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean because.
I have a lot on that. The shooting event. So I mean, maybe we want to just go through the Olympic stuff?
Okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. So I have a little bit of a different take on the Olympic thing than what other people do. Now I'm a professed Christian. If I have an opportunity to get offended over something, I'm going to do it, right? No,
Okay.
But I didn't even pay much attention to what was going on with the Olympics at all until this big controversy started over the tableau that everyone wanted, the performance or whatever it was. And of course, my larger circle, I start seeing be outraged, be enraged because this is a mockery of the Last Supper and everything. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I guess I can kind of see where they might get that, So I'm not enraged quite a bit yet, So I'm looking at some other stuff, and then I see some other friends of mine who are not Christians. I don't necessarily know that they're atheists or whatever, but they're posting. Well, wait a minute, because the only picture I'm seeing is the one of. Is it politically correct to say drag queens? Because that's.
I think that's okay.
Okay, because you have the this montage is made up of drag queens, right? That's all that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the big painted blue dude that's in the center of all
Yeah, they
this
didn't
stuff.
show that on our.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a little research, and I see another friend of mine points out about the Greek god Dionysus. Is it Dionysus?
Yes, Dionysus.
Dionysus. Okay, so I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, Greek mythology. I remember reading about this guy, or this god, or whatever. And then I see the picture, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like, there were 13. I think there were 13 people at the Last Supper, maybe 14. I can't remember if Mary was included in it or not.
She was.
Okay, so 14.
Yeah.
12 disciples, Jesus and Mary, right?
Jesus' homies and
Yeah,
his lady.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, there are 13, 14 people here. And I'm like, what I'm seeing, there are about 18 to 19 people here. So already we're off count, right? So I'm looking at this. And then, this other friend of mine posts about, the god of festivities and things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I didn't see the blue guy before, so now this makes a little more sense. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, this is, for me, I don't necessarily think that it was a mockery of Christian values or whatever. Now I've read an article where the guy says, well, I was inspired by the Last Supper. Okay, well, there you are. 20 minutes later, I read an article where the guy says, didn't even think about it. This was a mistake, and I guess they issued an apology about it, because they didn't mean to offend everybody. And I'm just thinking that this is kind of one of those things where maybe viewership has been down for the Olympics for a while. So why don't we make this big controversy where everybody's going to watch it now, because you don't know what the next thing is that someone's going to try to quote unquote pull, So anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I figure, I see everybody else posting on it and everything. So I'm like, you know what? I have a format that I can verbalize what I want to say, and so,
and then when you do, you gotta use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so
what did you think about that?
So I found out about it yesterday at church. This guy comes up and he's like, hey, did you see they mocked the Last Supper? And I'm like, really? Okay. So I look at it and I go, huh, okay. And that was pretty much it for me. But then I heard about Dionysus, because Dionysus was the god of like wine and festivities and all that other stuff, which now makes more sense, because I don't know if you've ever tried to get 14 of your friends together to go catch a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like the Olympics, you got to think about what the Olympics itself is. Like,
first of all, it's Greek.
It's
Yeah,
Greek.
yeah, that was the big thing.
Then you're talking about getting all the nations in the world to participate every 4 years, and somebody missed their flight. But like, oh my gosh, like everybody showed up, and it was like, oh, okay. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of don't care about sports enough to watch the Olympics.
The Olympics are cool, but I don't.
I'm sure they are.
Maybe.
It's on some channel somewhere that I'm sure people tune into, but like I didn't really think about it like that. But looking at it initially, even after this guy said it, I was like, oh, well, maybe what they were going for was, because I saw the different sizes of the people. I didn't even catch that they were drag queens.
Mm.
I was like, well, maybe this is a situation where it's like we can all live in harmony amongst all of us. And it was like different religions sitting at the table together.
That's what I
bread.
thought. I didn't know it was Dionysus. I didn't think it was Last Supper, but I thought it was something like that. I'm like, it's it's some kind of concoction of different, tribes.
Like an amalgam.
It's
That
a
kind of thing,
hodgepodge of
background.
just like
yeah,
that.
that's what I thought it was. And, at a banquet or something like
Yeah,
that. And
which,
in
if you-
ancient Greek tradition. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's what I thought.
And thinking about it from the perspective of the Olympics, where everybody's coming together for one simple goal, like who's the best? Like we're gonna break bread, we're gonna eat, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
So, okay, like there are people from different religions who are gonna show up to this thing,
Right.
and we don't involve war in all of this because it's like this is supposed to be like the friendliest competition.
Right. That's the most unifying thing.
Period.
That's supposed
Right.
to be
So the fact that it was like, oh, I'm in outrage, I was like, okay.
we're not starting off good, is what you're saying, right?
No, I'm like,
Right.
okay. Like from a personal perspective, not offended, but it's just about impossible to offend me, largely because if you tell me something about me that's true, I already know that it is, right? I've been with me for 42 years. I know it's true. If you tell me something that's false about me, that's your perception of me, I don't give a crap anyway.
Yeah.
So like,
But that's a great attitude to have.
Yeah.
I mean.
So like offensive, I was like, oh, okay. But hearing about, oh, it's mocking the last, and then Dionysus, I was like, oh, okay. And if they are mocking it, and I've seen it happen in a church where somebody was like, oh, I'm going to catch the Holy Spirit. And then they did. And I was like, oh, I bet you didn't see that happening. You just got saved. Like,
yeah. I just, again, in my opinion, I just think it was a big, it was a big attention grabber.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it did. So Bill, your thoughts?
I'm pretty much the same way. I'm not offended. I don't know what they meant by it, but it is what it is. People are going to make fun of stuff. People make fun of religion all the time.
Yeah.
You can't get offended by that. It's just the nature of people,
Yeah.
So,
just watch an episode of South Park. Somebody's going to be offended on that show.
oh yeah.
I think the miracle of that show would be if someone did not get offended.
Right.
That would be it. That would be it. So anyway, and that was kind of my take on this, So I thought I would share it for the 2 cents that it's worth, if it's even worth that much, But man, I cannot wait to hear.
Oh no! Has anybody chimed in about the Olympic?
No, we've got a few people watching, but if you guys would like to, I'm gonna have engineer Bill here throw up that link. If you guys would like to comment anything at all, you want to be part of the conversation tonight, that would be awesome. I do want to say that just click the link down there below that engineer Bill is going to throw up there, and you can join us live. I do want to say that tonight's conversation that we're going to talk about has the tendency to get a little dicey in some spots or whatever. There's going to be some things that you're not going to want to hear, that maybe you're going to be a little overzealous about or anything like that. First of all, I do want to just kind of put out there that any kind of hate speech or anything like that, or any kind of comments about, someone should be dead or something like that, you'll just get a lifetime ban from the show. Not that that's a big deal, but we're not going to put up with that shit. We're just not going to do it. The other thing to keep in mind is that just be civil to each other. I think our show prides ourselves on the ability to have a civil communication and talk about things, because we're going to talk a little bit about current events and politics and things like that a little bit. And I think if you ask each of us in here, all four of us might have a different opinion on where we stand politically or socially in that. But if you want to make comments, keep them civil, or else we'll just boot your ass from the show. But I do encourage you guys to be a part of the show, be part of the conversation, and I think with that, Mr. Drago, I'm definitely going to kick this over to you, because I'm very excited about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
All right. Well,
Let's go.
the shooting event. I'm going to call it that. I don't. When this happened, that's just what I thought it was. Oh my God, somebody! I wasn't surprised. Somebody shot at him. That's I thought it was messed up. I thought as even like rigging the election is bad, but this is worse. That's not how we get our president. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I really thought it was messed up, and I didn't like that people were saying that it was fake and staged and all this stuff. And it seemed like the people that didn't like Trump were people that were saying that it was staged and everything. And then I looked at it and I thought, it's staged. It's staged.
There's just too much. Yeah.
I'll go over that, but let me say this. I know 2 people died, or I know 2 people are reportedly were killed. Okay. I certainly am going to tiptoe around this. I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's part of it. And I'm sorry if that is offensive to anybody. I know the fireman that they said was killed. They had his fireman's coat on at the RNC, and it was misspelled. So that's a little weird to me. I don't think a man, a veteran firefighter would have his name misspelled. But that's just the least of it, and I shouldn't have even gone there yet.
No, that's fine. And you got a picture to show us later on also.
I got some pictures
of
of the background. And this is what immediately threw up a red flag to me. Not one person is running. There are shots fired and not one person runs. Mm-hmm. Not Trump, not even the Secret Service, they run up there. They run up there to get him. They spend way too much time standing around him. I don't know what they're doing, putting blood on his ear or what. I don't know. But it's like no Secret Service maneuver I have ever seen in my life. It looks like a bunch of bumbling crisis actors. Okay? Maybe some of this was real. Maybe somebody did die. But I don't believe that the audience thought that there were bullets flying. If you look at everybody in the audience, they barely duck. Some of them
5 shots. Also, weren't there a total of 5 shots? Is that?
I think it was 5 shots.
Yeah, because he fired 3, and then the Secret Service fired a couple to take him out.
Right.
Which in and of itself is,
right.
That's the bottom. That's on the on paper. That's what is happening. So I don't. If you study the background, the spectators very closely, you'll see they're all wearing hats. They're all wearing glass. Just about everybody has a hat on or something to disguise their identity, to hide their identity. There's one woman that is right behind Donald Trump, and she's holding her phone. Thank you. She's holding her phone. Trump's right here. She's holding her phone. She's actually looking at the rooftop, like waiting, looking up here like this, like she's waiting for it to happen. Like she's got, it's about to happen. You know what I mean? Like it's all coordinated.
I think that's one of the pictures you have. Right?
Yes. I don't think I got a really good picture of her though, because I just screenshotted from the video. But anyway, if you look at her, where she's, if you watch the video yourself, watch her. Watch what she does. She doesn't move. She does not react in a way that somebody would react if bullets were flying at them. Mm-hmm. Now you might say, well, you don't know what you're going to do in that situation. You know what I mean? Well, I think somebody would run. You know what I mean? I don't believe, and I think somebody would run. I don't think that they would half duck. You know what I mean? And there are other people in the audience and the spectators that are also looking at the rooftops just before the shots. One of these guys, I sent you a picture. He's kind of a weird looking guy. He's got a hat on, rimmed glasses, like wire rimmed glasses. He's got long curly hair, and he's wearing. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Keep your eye. Okay, that man's name is Vincent Fusca. Okay, he is at every Trump rally since 2016. I think he's CIA. Now, if you have followed or you know a little bit about the QAnon movement, QAnon thought that man was John F. Kennedy Jr.
What?
No. I'm not going there. I'm going to explain that. I am not trying to tell you that was JFK.
No. I hear you.
But okay. So the QAnon movement, they thought that in 2016 they came out. A guy on the 4chan website said that he all but said he was John F. Kennedy Jr. He said that his father had been killed by the deep state, and that's what got all the deep state stuff talking. This one post on 4chan, and he said that he has been waiting. He faked his death, and that he's been waiting for the right person to go after the deep state to bring them down, and he has found that person in Donald J. Trump. Okay, and this is what the QAnon movement has been. You know what I mean? Believing that he was going to, that there were going to be mass arrests, and these people that were all part of the deep state, which also happened to be part of this vampire satanic cabal that drank children's blood, ate babies,
the adrenochrome or something,
and they're
like that.
all Democrats. That's the theory. They were all Democrats. Just so happened to be all Democrats.
Yeah.
Pizzagate kind of like flew off of that one, and it really was a big mess.
The drinking of the blood, that was to keep them young, right?
Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Adrenochrome.
That's what they called it. That's what it is called.
Have we seen Nancy Pelosi?
Oh
She
boy.
is old looking.
Oh no.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, but she may be 300 years old too, though.
Oh,
We
you
don't
know what? That's a good point.
So
At
the
some
thing
point,
is,
vampires do age. You're right. Okay.
this guy Vincent Fusca does not move when these bullets are when the shots rang out.
Yeah.
He does not even duck, and he's just standing there with he's looking at both rooftops right before the shots are fired, and then he's got this dumb bad actor look on his face, like everybody in the crowd does. It looks like a bad acting troupe. Now, maybe somebody died. Maybe this guy was the patsy, the kid from Black Rock or whatever that was on the Black Rock commercial, the shooter. Maybe he died. Maybe he was the guy that they just called it collateral damage. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't know how psychological operations work.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that audience thought there were gunshots, that there were shots being fired. I don't believe Donald Trump thought there were shots being fired, and I don't believe the Secret Service did either. Those people, I don't.
Well, here's the thing also. I mean, just think about the whole setup. Okay, let's go back even before the shots were fired. Okay, I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest bumblings in Secret Service history, like ever, because people were hollering, "Hey, that guy, he's climbing up on top of the roof. You don't let that crap happen." And not only that, the cops that were there or whatever.
Everybody, I know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to jump on. Yeah, everybody's like, you can hear a woman saying, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? He's right there. You hear all these people. Man, one person should have had to say it, maybe two. You know what I'm saying? They're all like, it's like these people that they're talking to, they know.
Yeah, because
they know it. You know what I mean?
But did you hear why they weren't concerned about this guy?
Why?
Because he was outside of the radius. It was, let's say, 150 meters. This guy was like 168 meters out. So obviously he's not an actual threat, or it's outside of the secret. Listen, I lived in New York City. I remember when Obama used to come to town all the time. They sealed off. They shut down mailboxes, and we're talking about blocks and blocks and blocks. Like, it was insane. The idea of walking into Midtown, knowing that the president was going to be there. Number one. Number two, he's going to see Hamilton again, and I can't get to work because I live 4 blocks away from the theater. I'm working 4 blocks away from the theater, and they shut all of this down. And you're telling me that 18 meters is what it is that's keeping these guys. And I mean, it's a clear sight line. Yeah. There's a counter sniper over here who's looking over there going, yeah, I got eyes on him. It's like, yeah, you don't see the guy. He's setting it up.
I know.
Dude, I would have pulled the trigger beforehand. Like, come on.
There's something wrong there.
There are 3 things to look at here also, as far as security goes. And obviously, I'm not NSA or I'm not, Secret Service or whatever, So we're armchair quarterbacking here, but common sense. Let's go with common sense here for a second, okay? First of all, slope proof or not, someone's at an elevated state above a former president who, in the past, those guys have been just as protected as any other sitting, president or whatever. Hell, There's more ex-presidents than there are current presidents, you know.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, there's one thing, and whether it's Donald Trump or not, it doesn't matter. The guy still deserves the same protection because he was a sitting U.S. president at one point, up for re-election. That's number one. Two, we know how hated this man is in this country. You know, we know that. First of all, I am amazed that this was the first assassination attempt ever for him. You know, like I'm literally amazed.
I thought there was something somebody tried to rush this. I didn't know if that was a false alarm.
So the way that it went down was one of the Secret Service women. She saw this guy getting ready to approach, and she screamed Mickey Mouse. So they tackled this guy because she identified this one guy, and they interviewed her afterwards. And they asked her, like, why'd you say Mickey Mouse? She said, I meant to say Donald Duck.
Oh, my God. Oh, come on.
Can we cut his mic off? Can we cut his mic off?
You were saying you were amazed by...
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Good
Yeah.
one,
I
Good
can't
one,
believe
Brian.
you guys let me get that far.
No,
No,
it's a very grace-ridden show. Is all
that
I'm gonna
I
say.
know of, this is the first assassination attempt of Donald J. Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, so that's number two. Secondly, you talk about signals and things like that. You know, you're talking about the lady looking around, this you know,
You gotta
guy with
see
the
this.
hat
You've got to
looking
watch
around and like that.
People watch the video. Watch and
His,
study the people behind it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think, if he was, and we have to use a bunch of like ifs and things like that, you know. But I think if he was aware of it at the same time, his head moving. Have you seen the angle of a bullet when it come through and it zipped past him? I mean, it literally. I personally think that it's possible that when he turned his head the way that he did, it gave that perfect angle for it to just nick right past his ear. This country could not handle an assassination on a U.S. president right now. We just can't. However, what we can do is we can handle an assassination attempt because it gets us talking. It gets us engaged more. It causes controversy. It makes this election one of the quote unquote, because we hear this every 4 years, most important elections ever. We hear it every freaking election since before Ronald Reagan, right? You know, and it's just, I look at those three things, and to me, it screams setup. To me, it screams, you know, and like you're saying, there wasn't mass pandemonium, you know, what you would expect. First shot, maybe not. Second shot, absolutely. You know, third shot, and then when the Secret Service are, by this time they're on the president, you know, the former president, they're on him, they're moving away with it, and you're right. It took an awful long time to get him down.
And they don't know that there's not another gunman.
Right.
They might know that the guy's been
close.
taken out, but they don't know there's another one. They're supposed to react as though there's several
Multiple
gunmen.
ways, yeah.
You could have been on a grassy knoll. I mean, they just don't know.
They don't know it.
I took a look at the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt video after this happened. If you look at the way the Secret Service responded 40 plus years ago,
Yeah.
like it was
You didn't
Oh,
see Reagan. You
hell
saw
no.
Reagan.
It was
Listen,
like
you
that,
didn't
and
see
he was
him after
hit,
that.
and they were like, "Nope, we gotta get him in the limo."
They got Donald, you know, doing this.
Yeah,
and let me
that
get my shoes.
right there.
Like,
That
come on.
pissed
That
me
was
off.
a payoff.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was a payoff. That image of him with his hand up, bloody deer,
When you don't
hand
know
up,
there are bullets flying at you.
right, and,
Yeah.
and he's screaming, "Fight!" I mean, if you look, that was. I'm a photographer. I know when to look for the photo.
You know the money shot.
That was
Oh, it's gold.
time life right there.
Oh,
Man.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding at all. That whole thing, whether it was set up by the conservatives or whether it was set up by liberals or whatever, I don't know. I don't care. But when I saw that, and I didn't see it for a couple days later, but when I saw that image starting to circulate, that's when the juices up here just kind of started flying. Like, that was totally an opportunity maker. And whether someone died or not, the firefighter, and the guy up on top of the roof. You've got a picture here we're going to get to before too long. Of a post-mortem image of him, on the roof, and there's some things on that don't make sense either. So.
Right. Here's what I think, and I'm going to pick on everybody now.
Go for it.
So I think this all happened right before the Republican National Convention. Okay, right before he got Vance, it's we're going to do the. Oh, by the way, right before the event, he posted on Truth Social, all hell is about to break loose in an hour. I have a message about the deep state that I'm going to convey, and everything's going to go crazy. Well, he never gave anybody's. He wanted to make it seem like he was being silenced, like someone was trying to silence him.
Or that everybody was watching him when this event went down.
What's that?
Or that everybody was watching him, that all eyes were on him when this event went down.
Yeah, I think that's what he wanted to. Right. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, everybody watch me. Yeah. Sure.
Set myself on fire. Woo!
Yeah.
So this was right before he selected Vance as his VP. It's right before the RNC. And it was just a big wallop. You know what I mean? My liberal friends were all like, this isn't looking good. He's got a lot of populates, like, really boosted him up. Everything's going good. You know what I mean? And then Biden pulled out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't believe Biden had COVID. I think Biden is lying too. I think this, and I've said this on this show before, I never thought Biden was going to go the distance, and I always thought it was not the plan for Biden to go the distance. I didn't even think he was
going to. It's all a shell game.
Yes, I didn't think he was even going to go the first term. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But so but they waited until the RNC after they went off on Biden and Biden, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not running."
Yeah,
you got hurt. Now they've already kind of
shot their shot.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? And then
figuratively.
So so that's what I'm saying. So I think they're both engaging in propaganda, basically.
Yeah.
One's a little more dramatic, one's a little more strategic, or I don't know, maybe. But the thing is,
strategic.
What's that?
I think it's all strategic.
It all is. That's
all the extras. Like, you've got your normal mudslinging and things like that. Like, vote for this guy because he sucks, or vote for me because this guy sucks. Don't vote for me because that guy sucks. And it's just there's always going to be that. Which is kind of why on our show, when you're a candidate and you come on, I don't care if the other guy sucks or not. I want to know why you rock.
Yeah.
But I think it's all strategic, and I think now they have taken it to a whole new level. And I'm kind of with you. At the beginning, I didn't think that President Biden was going to be around as long as he was. I honestly thought they were setting Kamala Harris up for a 10-year run because 2 years in, she can still be elected twice after that.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was thinking. But he played out to the end. I was pretty sure that he wasn't going to run for a second term or whatever. And then when he came into the race, but when Hollywood and other DNC, backers are like, okay, Uncle Joe needs to go home and he needs to retire. He needs to relax and, do whatever, him and Dr. Jill Biden are going to do or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the theatrics to what they've taken it to at this point, I think it's despicable.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of the whole thing, because here we are less than 100 days to the election now, and we've got people that, the election is in complete and total turmoil. I don't think has Kamala, she picked her running mate yet?
Harris has not spoken about her running mate yet, no.
Okay, I know they're talking people to judge, but I don't know. But anyway, go ahead. I mean, I didn't mean to cut you off. My whole thing was just like, I think it's both theatrical and strategic, and it's dramatic, and it's a mess right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, what else was I going to say about that?
We were talking about him up on the roof, and how he got up there, and just kind of how the Secret Service.
I thought I thought it was weird that it didn't seem like anybody really thought that there were any bullets flying at any time that I saw. You know what I mean? But if it did go down, what is the motive? See, I think that was kind of confusing. That, well, this guy has right wing. He's a registered Republican, but then he had there was proof that he had donated $15 to the Democratic Party or something like that. $15.
15.
Yeah.
Hey man, every dollar counts.
So it's not like he's
I think
do
it was
a
a cover.
cover.
It was a cover. It was
Yeah,
like,
huh?
here, let's make it look like I'm a Democrat.
Look, if that
You
was
know
the
what I mean?
case, backdate some of those payments, man. Like for the last 3 years, he's been donating. Like, come on.
You see this kind of thing also. I mean, it's small things like that that really throw a shadow of doubt onto the credibility and the authenticity of the whole thing. Yeah, I'm a card-carrying Republican. Not me, but the guy's like, yeah, I'm a card-carrying Republican. But just to screw with people a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick the Democrat Party over $15. What is that? And that seems one of those things again where truth is stranger than fiction. Because why would you do that?
I think it was a cover. It was just like let's make it look like I'm a Democrat and I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm as straight as they come. I still
Or
have a
just
Victoria's Secret
or
card.
just throw a wrench in it. Just to throw a wrench in the plan.
Yeah.
Just be like, keep them guessing, keep them talking about it, They won't know really what's going on.
Yeah, it's very bizarre about the whole thing.
Do you remember when I talked about the Economist magazine cover?
Yes.
Which one?
Okay, this I sent you the thing.
I think
We've shown
we used to
this
have that one on there.
on here before.
It was the graphic that we had.
Yeah.
a while
So
back.
do you remember the
No, I
movie?
got rid of it.
Okay, I think I can pull it up while Nick talks about it.
Okay, Brian, do you remember when we were talking? You know that we talked about the movie Leave the World Behind?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you
I
see
missed
that?
that show. I'm sorry.
Okay. Did you see the movie on Netflix, Leave the World Behind?
No.
Julia. Okay. It's basically about we're being invaded. You know what I mean? And they're hacking us. They're breaking down our systems and this and that. And then we're being invaded by somebody. And it's it's really scary stuff. It's very modern day and everything. It's really scary. And the Obamas produced it. It's really scary. You know.
Yeah.
So in the movie, and this was in the trailer, this huge ship, cargo ship, is coming at them. They're on a beach, and this huge ship is coming, and they're like, that thing's got to stop, and it doesn't stop, and it comes right up on the beach. It's like navigation things were hacked and threw it off. Okay,
Okay.
then that's their first red flag. Like, oh wow, something's going on. You know what I mean? So right after that movie came out, we actually had that ship. That
In Delaware.
yes, or was it Delaware?
Boston, wasn't it?
I feel like it was like Virginia,
Yeah,
Delaware, somewhere in the DMV
yeah.
area.
So, but you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, and hit the bridge. Knocked
Yeah.
out the bridge.
Yep.
Okay, and okay. So the Economist. Did you get it? Or?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
there.
so the Economist magazine cover sort of predicts. Can I just stand up there and do it? Look.
Yeah.
This here is a cargo ship, okay? And this is a crash, okay? Now, this is Zelensky, that's Putin. That is Donald Trump, obviously Donald Trump, question mark. Now, you would think Biden is over here since this came out in like February or something.
It's a
No,
woman.
it's a woman.
Ah.
Has a ponytail. That came out in February, or I think it was February or March.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's a little weird.
Little?
Now I'm gonna go real. Now I'm gonna go real weird. Star Trek. I got.
Hold on.
No.
Hold
So
on.
weird now.
Because I'm about to get offended if you start talking Star Trek.
Man, you're gonna love it.
Go
Okay,
for it.
This is
Brian's
totally-
gonna nerd out.
So basically, I have spoken about what is called predictive programming,
Mm-hmm.
where like they say, oh, The Simpsons predicted this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this, you know what I'm talking about,
You're
right?
talking about the Deep Space Nine episode, aren't you?
Or where the guy, I don't know, one guy says to the other guy, because I never watched it. One guy said to the other guy, we have to find Kamala. Kamala is the uniter of the two worlds, or something like that. She'll bring peace between these two worlds. Okay.
Call her up by name, huh?
Now this is Kamala. So this is a character named Kamala that's going to bring peace toward these two worlds on Star Trek. Now, the actress that played Kamala,
Mm-hmm.
her birthday is November 5th.
Oh my God.
The day after mine. Oh, okay.
Election day.
Yeah.
Had to go weird. But also speaking of The Simpsons, there is and this could be fake.
I remember this
You remember that
episode. Yes, this was the first time that they had a trill on. It was played by Femke Jensen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
played
yeah,
Jean
yeah,
Grey.
yeah, Anthony Jansen,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was a Star Trek Next Generation episode.
Right on. So Simpsons had, I gotta say this before I forget it. Simpsons, and this might be fake, I don't know, but I just saw it. A first female president, and she's wearing a purple pantsuit
Right. Yeah.
with
Lisa
pearls,
Simpson, yeah.
like Kamala.
Yeah, it was
Kamala
Lisa.
wore a purple pantsuit with pearls like the other day, like big thing.
And I remember exactly.
What's that?
You think Matt is it Groening? Graining?
Groaning.
Groening? You think Matt
Groening?
Groening's in the
I
future?
hope it's that and not the other thing. That they know and they're telling us years ago, because I don't want that to be.
Yeah, Lisa,
I always say that like I'm trying to prove that, but I really don't want that to be the case.
Yeah.
Lisa, she takes the office.
Uh-huh.
Bart is a bum, and she says, "Yeah, we had to fix the mess that Donald Trump made."
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she says it.
Oh, I'm leaving. Oh my god.
And you
Literally.
can fact check me on
That's
that.
crazy.
She says it. Yeah, we got to fix this mess Donald Trump made. Lisa Simpson, the first female president.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what the best part of that episode is? Baby Maggie still never says a word. She goes to talk, and they're like, "You talk too much. Just stop." And she's like,
Is she still Baby Maggie in that?
"No, she's very grown,
Okay.
but she still has no voice."
Wow.
Hmm.
How is she still a baby?
No, she wouldn't have been.
Well, I mean, Bart Simpson's perpetually 6 years old, I think,
Bart's in his 40s. Lisa is, I guess, she'd have to be in her 40s too, because Bart's the oldest. Maybe she's in her 50s. I don't know. But Bart very much is like, "Can I have some money? Because, I'm a bum."
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I love, the scene where he is schizophrenic. Obviously, he's like seeing people, and then years go by, and he starts seeing the little girl again, and he's like a mathematician or something. You know what I mean? And he starts, and the smart, intelligence in him says she can't be real because she would be older.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's when he like admits there's something wrong with me. That's when he I thought that was a genius scene. Love that.
Either
Great movie.
that, or, and this is a big or, he's a time traveler, and he has seen this girl at some point in his time skips. He's stuck in some sort of temporal loop.
Ooh, that's even better, man.
Don't you know that? People aren't schizophrenic. They're just more aware of what's happening.
Man, you
Listen.
take my job.
Listen,
over here, dude.
hear me out on this. I'm looking straight at the camera. If you have mental health issues, please get them addressed. I'm just being a goofball here, but seriously, take care of your mental health.
Right.
All right.
Unless you're a time traveler.
Unless you're a time traveler.
If you're a
Don't
time
feed
traveler,
the beast.
If you're a time traveler, I expect your ass on this show at some point.
That's why I'm here.
Kim didn't. Kim left.
I think she may have scooted out.
She had to scoot. She
Yeah.
wasn't feeling
When we start talking about politics, sometimes I get really heated, and I don't like it.
Heated?
I get kind of heated,
Sure.
and I kind of felt when I felt bad. She asked me what I thought of the Green.
The Green Party?
Yeah, and I was just like, and I think that probably is a wonderful person, would make a wonderful president, but I just got heated. You know what I mean? And I hope I didn't come off too strong, and I will talk to her later and apologize if I did.
She's pretty thick-skinned.
Really
I think that.
Oh, she's cool. Sure, she is. But but still in all. But I just get really upset. I think it's scary. Okay, it's scary to me.
So when I was younger, much younger, in my 20s, I would call myself a card-carrying Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's kind of how I identified. And then, because at that time, some of those values were what was important to me, and I was disillusioned to the fact that, how do I put this? I was disillusioned to the fact that politicians had control over my life, and the things that I could do, the things that I couldn't do, and then as I got older, I kind of started transitioning a little bit more into the more conservative side, and I was like, oh, at this point, not right now, but at a little bit later in my life, I was like, well, I think I align more with the Republican Party, because I was like, these guys, seem to be more my strength and what I believe in and things like that. And then as I got older, I was like, they both suck,
Yes.
because both of them want to control my life, and they try and do this by enacting laws. You got the Republican Party, in my opinion, they want to pass laws that create them in power. And we don't have to talk about this, or whatever, because I don't know a whole lot about it, okay? But it really seems like the conservative parties are more behind this Project 2025 thing, okay? I don't know a lot about it. I've downloaded it. I've read through it a little bit to just kind of, check facts against, misalignment.
Just hearsay,
Which I've caught quite a bit of that.
Good.
I've caught people being like, well, it says this. Well, no, it doesn't.
Where?
Here it is.
Right.
There was one person who said, well, it says this in this section, this page, and I'm like, I copied it and like, no, it doesn't. But that's neither here nor there. But, but then I hear about other stuff, because you've got this little birdie on the right saying, well, these guys want to take away your rights and things like that. And you got these other guys over here saying, well, these guys want to kill people and things like that. And it's like, no, I don't think either one of you have got it right. I think you both want to be in control and you both seek power. And as I get older, that's why I consider myself more of a free thinker, which is probably the most dangerous voter out there, because, I think about, okay, what's really going on here? And ultimately, it's people trying to control your life. That's why I kind of lean more towards middle of the road, and if I had to align myself with anybody right now, it would be libertarian, because I'm kind of the belief, look, I believe that we need good education. I agree that we need better health care, but I also agree you need to leave me the hell alone. And leave me alone. You do you as long as it doesn't bother me. You do you as long as it doesn't bother me, and as long as you're not being crappy to other people or causing harm to other people or whatever, that's kind of where I find myself at. And this whole conversation is because I used to be very passionate about politics. Like, I used to be very, very passionate about one side or the other. And I've learned that when I realize that neither one of them really have my best interest at heart, that's very freeing to me. And it's given me the opportunity to talk to people more freely about it. Because if you're of a more conservative mindset, I can listen to you and I can hear what you got to say. And I can okay, I can understand where you're coming from. I may not agree with it, but I understand where you're coming from. Same thing. If you're of a more, Democrat liberal mindset, I can understand where you're coming from. I may not agree completely, but I can understand. And I've just found that to be, very, very freeing as far as like being able to just like not getting, because I used to be a keyboard warrior on Facebook. If you said something I didn't, agree with, or boy, I had like an 8 or 9 paragraph rant that I would go on about why you're wrong. Now I don't give a shit. I do, but I don't. It's like I can hear your side of the story and I can discern what I think is accurate, what is not. I can do my own research, from all standpoints of it. But anyway, that's just to say that, and I think Kim is kind of the same way. I don't think that you offended her or anything like that. It's like when someone says something to me, I don't really get offended much anymore.
I didn't think offended, just like, why is Nick yelling at me or whatever?
Yeah.
But, I think that.
Good evening, Miss Rebecca. She said good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening. I thought she's out there.
She's watching. She's online watching.
I feel like people that, we have our news that only talks up their side. And I feel like people will not pay attention to anything being said about the candidate that they're supporting.
Right.
They will not pay attention to anything unfavorable about them.
Right.
So then they therefore don't know
Right.
about certain things. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really scary to me, man. It really is scary to me.
One thing that I don't understand, and maybe it's the fact that there's a battle line drawn in the sand now in the age of politics. It's like, if you say, I'm a registered Republican, oh, that means you support rape, you support guns, you support, like, there's like this stigma that's attached.
Yeah.
And it kind of removes the idea of being a free thinker. It's like, well, I could be an educated Republican who understands what the other side is saying, and I agree with some of the things that the other side is saying. I just happen to be a Republican, or I'm a Democrat, and that means the whole host of other things, like the it's all in chaos, and like all of you guys are just kind of out for yourselves, and
baby killer, socialism.
Yeah,
like that.
you guys drink the blood of
vampire.
Like, however it works out. Like, they're all the whatever the stigma is, and there's no middle ground.
Right.
And unfortunately, I feel like, especially in this day and age with politics, it really does come back to like politics, like the etymology of the word. Corny joke coming, just warning you. Poly meaning many, and ticks meaning blood-sucking individuals. So it's just a matter of, like, that's what it is. So you can't really pick a side because you're now aligned to that side. Like, you've sided with the dark side, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. It's the dark side, and it's
red or blue.
It's dark.
Person,
It's what you are defending. It's like, oh, well, this guy stands for this, this, and that. Well, you're going to defend that. You're going to support that, and it kind of goes
right.
It goes there. I would just recommend everybody, like, listen to the candidates. My opinion of Donald Trump comes from listening to Donald Trump.
Right.
Not CNN, not Hollywood, nothing.
Yeah.
I listen to Donald, and I know I'm not voting for him. I think you should really pay attention to the charges that he's under, and really learn, like, some stuff. It's not just hush money stuff, Learn about what's going on in Georgia, the fake elector scheme. 85 people he has organized to pose as fake electors to push forward votes for him. That's what he wanted Pence to do. He wanted Pence to choose those electors, trying to rig the election. He rigs things. You know what I'm saying? And people don't know this because they're not paying attention. And it drives me literally nuts.
My history with DT kind of goes back a little further than that. It goes back, like, a lot further. It goes back to the late 80s, early 90s.
Did he kick you at a Trump Plaza?
No. So there was, I don't know if it's still there. It's on Netflix, How They See Us.
Uh-huh.
It's a docudrama about the Central Park Five. Those guys are just a few years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And where they were picked up, where they were scooped up, was not far from where my grandmother lived. And we used to go see my grandmother, like, every weekend. Who's to say that my brother and I aren't out there and we get scooped up by the cops and become part of that story?
Yeah.
Like, taking out full-page ads saying we need to get these animals, we need to bring back the death penalty. Like, that kind of just... And there was no apology. There was no, maybe I overstepped a little bit. There was no acknowledgement of, I shouldn't have done that. And that right there has stuck with me for, let me see, that was, I want to say maybe 92, if not somewhere around there. So about 30 years. So when I hear, oh, hey, yeah, no, for me, it's personal. Like, I just don't like the guy.
No, I hear you.
And I also don't agree with his policies.
I mean,
of which I could tell you nothing because I learned nothing about his policies.
I got past the unpresidential, that he wasn't presidential, and I started to see he does get things done. They're not the things I want him to do, but he was very effective. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I feel he could have been. I know a lot of you probably think he did a lot of great things. I think he did some good things too. I'm not gonna talk him up anymore. That's it. I'm done.
He's done good things.
Yeah, he's done some good things. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
These will also sting you.
Nothing. Nothing that I think is worth voting for him for. Some of the things he has said are very dangerous too.
Yeah, my thing with Donald Trump was that I don't like the guy personally, and you're right. It's not so much that he did good things in office, whatever. When he ran for office, he said, "I'm going to do this," and when he got in office, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. And he did a lot of what he said he was going to do. And I think that's what really shook a lot of people up. The guy's deplorable. We can all agree on that. The guy's deplorable. And I'm not saying I'm going to vote him in office come November either. I'm not saying I am. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying that I think that he was a shakeup in the world of politics. And I think that's really been his biggest opposition. And here's why I say that. If you look at pictures of the Donald before he was president or whatever, who was he hanging around with? It wasn't people like John McCain. It wasn't right-wing people that he was hanging around with. He was hanging around a lot of, big, Oprah was a big, they were real big buddy and things like that. And like, he was a big fan of Hollywood and a lot of people on the other side of the aisle that he's currently on. Much like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan did not start out as a Republican, but that was the office that he was going to get elected in. He made concessions because he's like, I want to be governor, I want to be president. So guess what? The Democrats are never going to put me in office, but the Republicans will, So I just really look at it, and Nick, I said this earlier, both of them are just two sides of the same bird. And when we look at, the conspiracy theories that we talk in, and so that, I, as a Christian, I do believe all of our leaders are God ordained. Okay. Was I a big fan when President Obama became president? No, I wasn't. That was in my hardcore conservative phase during that time. But you know what? All of our leaders are God ordained from a Christian standpoint. That means that whoever's in office is pretty much who God has deemed to be in office at that point.
Right.
Whether we like it or not, too bad. We don't write it,
Look in the Book of Judges.
But
everything in the Book of Judges is like that.
And my whole thing is just that, we have to look a little deeper into it and see, okay, does a vote really count? Some will say yes, some will say no. Look at Florida several years ago, and I'm going to say, oh, hell yeah, your vote counts, whatever. But I don't know. I'm trying to summarize here a little bit about what I'm thinking, and I don't feel I'm doing a very good job of it because I don't want to paint a hopeless picture of who our leader is going to be. I don't think that either side has everyone's best interest at heart.
I'll paint the picture.
I'll
paint the picture. We're screwed.
Okay. I just think that I'm just really upset that you're put in between a rock and a hard place because I personally, I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump, but I will favor on the side that he did get stuff done.
Yes.
And he had very strong foreign policy. But then on the flip side, Harris is not the person that we want for our foreign policy.
I don't know enough about her to I don't know what her experience is on that or whatever.
The strength, I just do not believe is going to be there. Looking historically at how she's acted with stuff, I don't think that's good in a time where everything is really just on edge. You know what I mean? And there's just what do you pick?
In the 2016 election, I literally stood there staring at my ballot. The 2016 election. I was like,
okay. Can I ask you guys?
Yeah.
How much did you really watch of the Biden-Harris administration? Did you really pay attention to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the past 4 years?
Personally, no. I didn't pay attention to really any politics over the last 4 years.
I was grateful for the fact that these past 4 years weren't inundated by 2 a.m. tweets and the craziness of the previous 4 years. I was just grateful that, the presidency was But on the other side of that, what has Harris done? What has her platform been, even as VP? Where are we going with this?
Sure, well, I'm sure she can answer that. But
I have not.
She will.
But I have not paid attention to it.
Right now, she's up against a man that just 2 days ago said please get out and vote. In 4 years, you won't have to vote anymore. We'll
I
have
did
it
hear
fixed
that.
so
Yes.
good you won't
You will
have
never
to
have
vote.
to vote again.
I think I
Now,
did
that
hear
is
something
right
about
in
that.
line with his fake elector scheme, trying to rig it. And he's got Vance that said he would have chosen those electors. He would have done what Pence did not do. You got the Supreme Court that just ruled that presidents are immune from prosecution. No
For
matter
presidential
you know what I mean?
things.
Right.
But
I mean,
what's a presidential thing? Anything
Right.
can be an official act. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, when they said that he could order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate somebody, they're absolutely right. If I say, hey, as an official act, I
He
want
is a
all
commander
of,
in chief.
I want all of Congress eliminated right now.
Well, let me rephrase that. Whoever holds that office
Right.
is a commander in chief,
Right,
male,
but-
female,
but that's-
or whomever.
That's super dangerous because ethics out the window. What are you going to do to me? And as an official act, I said I wanted Congress eliminated, and so I sent the military in, and I killed them all.
Which,
it's an
only,
official act. And
only leads to dictatorship.
yes.
Yes, that's
And
problematic.
he said he was going to be a dictator on day one.
Day one, he's going to get the revenge.
NATO,
that
I
he
think
wanted.
he's Putin's buddy. I don't care what anybody says. What he said about NATO,
Hmm.
that he wasn't going to defend them. Like, do you know what happened on 9/11? We'll just say we talked about 9/11, what we
Yeah.
thought it was, and all that. But on 9/11, NATO, those 30 countries, whatever they are, they felt it was like they were attacked. They were like, okay, we're coming after you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what NATO is. And Trump is trying to. He doesn't want us to be in NATO.
Pull out, yeah.
You know, and Putin doesn't want us in NATO, of course.
Yeah.
So what does that sound like? You know what I mean? It's anyway. Let me just say. Let me stop talking about Donald Trump for a second and tell you. In 2016, I did not vote for Joe Biden. I voted for Joe Biden. I didn't vote for
2016
him.
or 2020?
2020. Thank you.
Because it was Hillary. In
Right. I
2016.
voted for Hillary and I voted for Biden. I didn't. I'm always going to vote for a Democrat, probably. And let me give you an example of why. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. There, right now, and this is just an example, there is interest in the GOP of banning birth control. Now, it's not everybody. It probably won't see the light of day. But a lot of things I didn't think were going to see the light of day.
Like
But
Donald Trump as president.
There is, yes, but the interest is there on that side. I will never vote for that kind of thing, ever.
And see, I think that's what makes our ability to vote and think and our right to vote and stand passionate for what we believe in is so important.
Yeah.
And that's why these conversations they actually need to happen, because you know what? I mean, you're not a religious guy. I get it, but there are some, conservatives out there that would say, well, I will never vote Democrat because I don't want to pay more taxes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their entire standpoint. Like that is their entire platform is I don't want to pay more money to what they would interpret as freeloaders, and they won't hear anything else. They won't hear that the quote unquote freeloaders are disabled veterans. They won't hear that they're mental health sufferers or something like that. But they don't look at the overall picture. And that's why I like to think that there are people out there that while they're passionate about it, like let's be clear, there's some evil that goes on both sides. There's evil there, but you ultimately, when it comes down to it, you kind of have to pick your guy, gal, whatever, and you have to decide what is more important to me. Is it more important to me to pay more taxes and make sure everyone has health care, or is it more important for me for free birth control for everybody or birth control for people that is readily available, and I don't mind paying an extra 40% of my taxes or something. Everyone has to pick something that you want to stand for, because what's the saying? Stand
If
for
you stand
something
for
or you fall for
nothing,
anything.
or what do you fall for?
So-
I'll tell you something though. One thing we all want, we all want fairness,
Yeah,
but we all have probably different ideas of what is fair.
you're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. Yeah.
So I don't really begrudge somebody for that. If you're voting for self-interest, if your kids are, in daycare, whatever the deal is, what I'm saying? You got kids, you're going to vote according to what you want for them in the future and stuff. I can't say anything about that. If you.
And fair changes. If you think about it,
certainly,
fair changes.
certainly.
I'll use myself as an example. What was fair to me when I was in my 20s wasn't fair to someone in their 50s at that point. Right now, what's fair to me at 51, it's probably not fair to a 20-year-old, or a 22-year-old or whatever. So fair changes, ideals change. I think that people shift back and forth. I don't think morals change so much, but I think that someone's ideas of fairness changes, and then you just kind of have to go with that, And it's like, again, 2016 election. I can remember exactly where I was at, staring at my ballot, saying, "What the hell? This is who I have to choose.
Yeah.
Who I have to choose between."
That's where I was too. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I feel bad.
But you did.
I did. I did. I don't do it very often, but I really feel like, listen, I voted for Donald Trump. I did, because you do at some point in time get tired of the political crap that goes on in this country. You see all the junk that happened, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Hey, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do this and that. And you get some hope and you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then you see the decisions being made. Personal freedom decisions aside, just let's talk about the economy. Now, I very much feel for personal freedom decisions and women to choose for their own body and all that. Like, listen, I agree with that. I believe that if your religion tells you not to have birth control or tells you not to get an abortion or whatever, then that's your free will, and it shouldn't be up to a government to take it away.
Right.
It should not. But what I was looking for, and I think what many other people were looking for, was a change. A person who was so rich that he couldn't be bought out by these ridiculous lobbyists.
Right.
And that's what kills me. You get these folks in there, and maybe their intentions in the beginning were great. Maybe they were powerful. Maybe they I'm going to come in, I'm going to make this change. And then you put a little money in their pocket, and then here comes a little more money in their pocket, and now there's more money in their pocket, and suddenly they're like, well, this is lucrative. And hey, I'm getting all this insider information about what stocks to invest in and how to get rich, and I'm going to step out of this White House, and I didn't do a thing that I said I was going to do. I stood for a lot, but did nothing. But I got rich. But I got incredibly rich. And meanwhile, the economy goes absolutely down in the hole. We're making horrible decisions that are literally getting people killed. And then the next election comes up, and the incumbent wants to be reelected, and what's the choice? What's the choice? What have I got to look? Because I just saw Trump, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I saw Trump as this, I don't want to say shining light, because he wasn't a shining light. He's not a great person. But I saw him as this hopeful thing where maybe he will get in and clean up some of the crap that went on. Maybe take a Reaganist belief that government needs to be shrunk down and that we need to stop doing all this. Because, look at our national debt. We can sit here and talk politics all day long, but the number keeps counting up. And if it doesn't get better, it's not going to get better. That's where I was. And now I'm stuck at this place where, Trump is not great at all. But I don't know what 4 years under a Harris administration would look like. And with the economy as fragile as it is right now, and foreign affairs as fragile as they are, everything, we're 2 seconds away from World War III because everybody's mad at each other. How would she handle that?
This is a world clock
honestly, I gotta say, I think she would have NATO on our side. That's 30 countries that would be our allies.
That's true.
And I thought the economy was doing great. The economy has done better under Biden than it has under Trump. The stock market has. The stock market has done. When Trump was president and the stock market was doing good, everybody was praising him and look at everything. This is why we voted for him and everything. And now it's done better under Biden. It has broken records, setting broken records, and crickets.
I guess for me, as far as the economy goes, I have a better paying job, for sure, but I'm just going to deal with what I've noticed on my own life. I have noticed things that I buy have almost doubled in price, particularly when it comes to groceries and things like that. I see that in my checkbook, or not my checkbook, but in my bank account. I'm like, I'll go to the store and I'll buy something that I know for a fact, maybe not doubled, but it's increased a lot, because we'll take laundry detergent. Okay, I used to pay $11 for my laundry detergent. Okay, when I buy laundry detergent now, it's almost $4 more. And it's laundry detergent. And food is kind of the same way. So I do kind of see that, and I think that I want to touch on what you said a little bit, Bill, is that, when Donald Trump came along, he shook things up. He even had the Republicans pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
He was like, the Republicans don't want anything to do with it. He was basically, he gave him the finger. He's like, screw you, I'm going to do this. And if you don't bring me on board, I'm going to do it as an independent. Which he may have taken the Ross Perot route. He may have been our first independent president, but with that being said, I think it goes back to, the Republicans brought him on board because he aligned more with what they wanted. They knew that he was going to win, because I really don't think that when you look at the way the 2016 election went, I really think that everybody was surprised by that. Like, everybody thought it was going to be another President Clinton. Everybody thought that, except for the night of the election, and people were losing their shit. Like, really? Donald Trump is going to be our president? What?
He looked surprised.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. He was like, "Wait, this is real?"
When he came out, when he accepted it, I thought it would. I thought he didn't want it. He didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Yeah, and the thing is, there are a lot of Republicans now that are even like, we don't want this guy up here, but he's the only one that they think could, at the time, could be Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden got nominated. I don't know that he was qualified to be president back then. I don't know. I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying I don't know. But I think that Joe Biden was the only man that could have beaten Donald Trump at the time.
Oh, I agree, because he's attached to Obama.
Yeah, and he didn't want to do
100%.
it. Do you remember why he didn't want to do it?
Well, who didn't want it?
Biden.
Biden didn't want it.
He didn't want to run.
son,
He had
right?
just
Yeah.
lost his son. He said, "My heart isn't in this. I can't do
Yeah.
this."
It did show. It
And
really
I think
showed.
he came out because it was more of an obligation to the country. Like, I don't like this guy and what he's doing to the government, etc. So, like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
I'm really
I think he did it
mortified.
as an obligation. I think it was obligatory. He felt it was his service and his duty to beat Donald Trump.
Right.
I think that there's each side is too extreme to their side.
Yes.
And I think so. Like, one of the things that like I've talked about before was, like, the Democrats want the green initiative, everything green, and I'm for that.
Yeah.
1,000%. I would love to see electric vehicles. We can discuss the finite details of lithium mines and carbon footprint and all that. But I would love to see us on a more green path and away from fossil fuel. But if you look at it from the surface, cutting the throat of the oil industry to achieve that is asinine. It's absolutely asinine. Yeah, it's going to move it forward faster, but at the expense of the pocketbooks of the American people, transportation industry, inflation, so on and so forth. And then from the Republican side, it's like, oh no, let's just open oil up and oil. That's not the right move either.
It's got to be a gradual transition, just like when the automobile was first around. It's got to be a gradual transition.
Absolutely.
And
and we have to make these automakers, like, listen, and again, back into lobbyists, Brian and I were talking about this yesterday, how we have SUVs in this country all over.
So many.
There's no
trucks.
station wagons or anything like that anymore. Things that would make more sense, because a light truck, an SUV is considered a light truck, has less emissions restrictions than a passenger vehicle, which is what a station wagon would be.
Yeah,
and that was lobbied to get that. So, like, what we need to do is take a really good look at that system and say, hey, we're going to give you incentives only for developing better technology, be it hydrogen, be it electric. I don't care. Whatever works out, let's get you on that road there. But we can't. One of the things I do like that Trump did was the making us energy independent for the time. I think that was kind of extreme, but that was also a huge relief, because, again, anytime it's a butterfly effect. Anytime you can get fuel prices down to where fuel prices were, inflation is going to come down, because the cost of transportation and doing business is just going to plummet. It has to. I think that was extreme, the way that it was done. I think it could be handled a little better and still push us towards a green initiative. I just want a candidate that isn't going to be that extreme to this side. We don't need, because it almost becomes a dictatorship within their realm of power.
Right.
Like, this is what we're going to do. If you don't like it, screw off. We've got 4 years to push this agenda, and if it wrecks everything, it wrecks everything. If it doesn't matter,
There's not a whole lot of bipartisanship anymore.
No,
there's not.
And that's really that's kind of where it needs
But
to
there
be.
is some. There has been some.
Yes.
Yeah, there has been.
Yeah, to those who are leaving, they're retiring.
Yeah.
Those who are saying, you know what, this is my last hurrah. This is my last trip in Congress. This is my last trip as a senator. Yeah, I guess I'll reach across the aisle. That's when you're seeing it more than anything else.
Right.
Prior to that, it's just kind of like, I got to toe the party line, I don't know.
Well, I think the thing that aggravates me the most here recently is Joe Biden has some issues, health issues. It's obviously apparent. He didn't just have a bad night. It's over and over and over again in every speech, in every public appearance.
It is not in every speech.
It's in almost every speech, and I'm not saying that to beat on Joe Biden. I'm saying that because you can see it from the day that he got in office, sharp as a tack, and there's been cognitive decline. And what aggravates the crap out of me is that they still attack the man, and they make fun of him for it. And my grandmother and other people that I've known have gone through dementia, Alzheimer's, all that kind of stuff.
Right
And
now.
I don't know what he has. It is not cool that not a single time has anybody else, RFK or Donald Trump, been felt sorry for the man.
Right.
Hey, he is the leader of this country, whether you like him or not. He's the man in charge right now, having to take having to take all the calls, having to balance all this on his shoulders. Imagine being the president of the United States and having whatever he has that's causing him to slip up. I don't know what that is, and still having to be the man that makes all the calls. Still having to be the man that would have to make the call if we had to send our troops out to fight a war. That's
making fun of
crazy.
him isn't the deal.
It is
no.
It doesn't make anybody look good.
No, it doesn't.
And that's the problem. That's the game. That's the game of politics. And when you get to an individual like President Biden, when you get to an individual like that, you're right. First of all, the toll, the physical and mental toll that this job takes on an individual is insane. You can look at some of the younger people, that were in here. I mean, President Obama went in with dark hair, and he came out, and
he was a fairly young guy when he went in. When he got out, it puts a lot of
ages you.
Yeah, it does.
And it's a 24/7 job.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's interesting that normally we try to avoid the discussion of politics.
Tonight we went into it, man.
Yeah, we did, but it kind of fit the theme because of what's going on in our country. It's like, whether it was real, staged, or otherwise, an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, not cool. Period. Even if it was staged, not cool. If it wasn't staged, definitely not cool. And Bill, to your point, making fun of a sitting president who's obviously declining, mentally, emotionally, and physically, that's not fun either. That's not cool to do that either. I mean, there still has to be some kind of respect, for the office.
Yep.
And you can talk about politics and things like that, but once it gets personal, then it becomes ineffective. Because then you got to turn the wipers on to see the shit that's all over the windows, and you just can't. I love every time you're on the show.
I'd like to say one more thing to remind everybody about, and it's a fair thing here.
Yeah.
In 2012, every year the president signs the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. Mm-hmm. They make amendments to it or just changes, whatever. And in 2012, something was slipped into the NDAA, and it was called the Smith-Mundt Reversal Act of 1939, I think, something like that. And it basically legalized, it made it legal for our government to use propaganda on us. It basically made it legal for the government to lie to us on the news, whatever. So that's what I really think is going on now. I think both sides are engaging in propaganda, and I think neither side is telling on the other.
Yeah,
I think that's like the rules,
Yeah, I know what you're doing, but it would be uncool for me to rat you out. No.
Yeah, I know.
Because if I rat you out, then
You're
they're
gonna rat
right.
me
Yeah,
out.
they're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so
people are going to start digging, and then they're going to find out, oh wow, both of them are doing
But I think
which we know they're both doing it anyway.
Right.
But yeah,
they probably hint around like, well, where's your doctor's records, or where's this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And well, yeah. So, but folks, thanks for listening, and always just do your own research and listen to the candidates.
yeah.
Don't listen to what they're saying about the candidats. Listen to the candidates.
Don't listen to
All
the
right.
super PACs either, because
No.
those guys' entire job is to get their guy.
Oh, right.
elected,
Yeah, that's
and
for sure, don't listen to stupid Facebook ads or slam ads from other. It's watching some of these that are coming out now. It's like it's just ridiculous.
That's embarrassing.
It is.
Yeah. So
If I get another ad for like a build muscle pill or like clean your gut, like okay, fine. Like no, I'm good.
you know what I get the ad to say, if you're 52 and over 200 pounds, you can do these 7 easy exercises is sitting in your chair. And I'm like,
Yeah, I get
Sure.
let's do arm lifts all day long.
Facebook knows that I'm fat. It's like Ozempic.
Yeah. I've been in a lot of
It's
those
like
ads lately.
it's like I saw an ad yesterday. Like, is Ozempic? It's not cheating with weight loss. Come on, like you come on. You don't need to do that exercise. Just give yourself a shot. I'm like, ugh.
So anyway, what I was saying, Nick, I always appreciate when you come on, because it's always good information, but not only that, it's great conversation starters and topic starters and things like that. And Brian, I love when you come on the show also. Kim, we do miss you, but Brian with a Y, he's our guy tonight. So guys, thanks for joining us this evening. Went a little long. I love it when we go longer.
Yes.
Because it just it makes the show a little better. So I got to see where I'm going to be at next week. Will determine whether I'm sitting in this chair or not. To be honest with you, but I never know my schedule. Sometimes one day to the next. But I appreciate you guys joining us this evening. Again, like we said, we have great conspiracy theories that we talk about. A lot of creative and think tank stuff going on here, which I love. And again, just to kind of reiterate what you said, Nick, listen to your candidates, listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're doing.
Yes.
That's the other thing right there. I mean, you get a lot of lip service, and Nick, you kind of challenged me, and I'm going to take a look at what the Biden-Harris administration has accomplished in the last 4 years. At least educate myself on that, because I don't. This past election, this past 4 years, I've been very checked out. And I mean, I know what I've seen on Facebook, which, the circle that I hang around in, probably not a lot of fair or unbiased information. Let's see, we got a couple things here before we close out. Cricket says, great show. Shelley says she's sorry that Kim's bad. And Kim, we're sorry you're feeling bad also. We already gave a shout out to Miss Rebecca for joining us this evening. And so awesome, guys. Thanks for joining us, and someone will be here next Monday.
Next time, aliens.
Next time, aliens.
Yes.
All right. Hey, guys, have a great week.
See ya.